everyone, and welcome to the Bearcats Den with President Taylor. I'm Ivy Taylor, President of Russ College, and your host for the show. I am joined today by a very important member of our faculty here at Russ College. Today's guest is Mr. Mr Chatman, who is an assistant professor and the music and band director here at Russ College. Mr. Chatman, welcome to the Bearcats Den.
Good morning. Good morning.
Very excited to have you here today. I wanted to have our guests, our viewers, learn a little bit more about you. So can you share with us a little bit about your background and how you gained an interest in music?
Well, first of all, my name is Byron Chatman. I am from Natchez, Mississippi. I took my undergrad at Alcorn State University, where I was the tutor section leader, student conductor under Samuel Griffin. And when I finished there, I went to Jefferson County in Fayette, Mississippi, is the city's right south of Alcorn. And 3 years, I took that band program from non-existing to superior rank for state competitions. And after that, I went straight to Jackson State as a graduate assistant with the Sonic Group of the South. For 2 years, while I was there, I arranged with the band and also worked with the brass ensemble. It's a class for non-music majors that all the brass students have to take. So I conducted that class during the spring semester. And towards the end, right before graduation, I completed a large research project on the history of HBCUs in America. And I presented it at the Mid-South Conference at Oak Miss. And I was offered a fellowship to continue my study. And right now I'm finishing up in the last stage on the dissertation of my PhD at the University of Mississippi. My research topics are the music program, the history of music program at HBCUs, also folk music of African American cultures, and the world-renowned acapella choir, which is my dissertation topic. One of the things that brought me to Russ College during last summer, my wife, Shanta Chatman, which is also a faculty here at Russ College in chemistry, she was asked me to attend a church conference with the city of the church as a chaperone for the boys during the conference. This is my first time ever coming to campus at Russ College, and I was very impressed. And people were just telling me about the history and all the great accolades. So I decided to do a little research. I was sitting in Doxy at the auditorium, and the first thing I saw on the website popped up was a opening for band director. And so I talked to my pastor, and my pastor introduced me to Dr. Beckley.
Well, it sounds like your chef for order in that regard. Well, tell us a little more. I'm intrigued. You talked about your research and that it's about the world-renowned acapella choir here at Russ. So tell us about your research project.
All right, one of the first things that got me interested in the acapella choir here, even though my background is band, it was just the high standard and the good things that everybody who has anything to do with Russ College always speak about. It's almost like fighting a ghost. You know, it's a certain standard that people always want you to describe for. So I had to do more research on my own and wanted to know, who is the building, the farmhouse building named after? What is this choir that everybody keeps speaking about? So I took it upon myself to learn as much as possible about Natalie Doxy and about the acapella choir. So here at Russ, we always had a choir since the very beginning. So there's been many directors, but the one that stuck out had the longest tenure is Natalie Doxy. She came in. She was a student here. Families from here, both our parents were slaves. So after moving here, after being freed, I know her father opened a grocery store, and they supported her and our brother in developing the musical skills here at Russ. So after she finished high school here at Russ College, she went on to the University, the Conservatory of Chicago, and also Juilliard. And when our father passed during the summertime, she came back for his funeral. And she just didn't want to leave her mother alone. So she stayed with her mother, and they offered her a position here at Russ College. And during our first 7 years, the only thing she had was a male quartet. So she was trying to build up the reputation, and she went on tour, went up to Michigan, parts of the northern United States, touring the tour for the United Methodist Church, the North. performing in different churches, different conferences. And she actually heard another a cappella choir, and she became very interested in studying more in the techniques of a cappella, well, a cappella, no instruments. So no piano, no organ, it's just strictly voice. So after her first 7 years, she took a summer off to go study up north. And when she came back, this is when the choir actually expanded more funding for scholarships and developed into the world renown. This is when they actually went out to the United States, parts of Africa, South Africa, parts of Europe, and just spreading the term is with the ambassador of goodwill. So they used the choir to spread the name of Bristol College, and also as a form of fundraising. Because all the performances people was, especially with the spiritual. And I think that's one of the key things about the a cappella choir, because the spiritual is the only genre of music that was found at HBCU. At the University, Fifth Jubilee Singers, and also first made famous by Hampton University. So we fall in line with those two a cappella choirs. So this comes right after those two. Maybe I'm still looking at Tuskegee. Tuskegee also had an a cappella choir. So we align with those four major institutions to spread the idea of the spiritual, which are songs from the time of slavery that were rewritten in 4-part harmony to fit into the Western tradition. So it's soprano, alto, tenor, bass. So we're taking the field songs, raised into the standard of European art music. So this is why it is so sought after, especially because it's one of the earliest forms of art music in America. And so before my research, I had no clue about it, but I'm very, very appreciative, and I want to build on to it. This past year, I did work with the choir with the Christmas program. So Dr. Harvey, who is the choir director, that we work closely together to establish the reputation of the music department here at West College. We actually want to build on it. We want to start at the music department. We are interested in starting at the degree. And starting a legacy, especially with the band here. Yes. I know it's so much with the choir, but I learned from people in the choir, and I want to emulate, copy a couple things so we can move forward.
Well, I would like to talk more about choir, but just as we wrap up talking, I want to talk about the band, but as we think about the choir and the history, I've learned so much just listening to you talk about your research. I was a member of the gospel choir in college, Yale Gospel Choir. I don't know, we weren't world renowned when I was there. Since I've left, they have traveled some places, but just learning about the history of the Negro spiritual, I think is fascinating. Why do you think it's important for young people today to learn the things that you're researching right now for your dissertation?
All right, very important. I know you said the gospel choir. I know for younger folks, there's a division between gospel and the art form of the spiritual. Yes. And even during the time of the spiritual, the early pioneers were very upset because these were the songs of slavery, songs that reminded them of bad times, whereas gospel is more uplifting, more present, more contemporary. So they both are very important because we have to understand our legacy, our history. We need to build upon it. We don't need to forget anything. We need to use everything as a tool, to, especially in the day and time that we live right now. We need to use every avenue as an asset.
I would agree with that, and I'm excited to hear about you working closely with Dr. Harvey with the choir, and I'm definitely interested in continuing the conversation about rebuilding the music major here and about the history of music at Russ College. Let's go back just a moment to talk about your childhood and how you got interested in music. You said you played the tuba. What made a young kid want to play the tuba?
Originally, when I started 5th grade at McLaurin Elementary in Natchez, Mississippi, when I went into the band room and I wanted to get started, I knew I wanted to do something with music. So when I went back home, and both my parents told me, yeah, we play saxophone. So I started on saxophone in the very beginning. But after I was on saxophone at elementary, got to middle school, my father took me to a game, all on versus UAPB. We sat next to the band, and I don't know what the instrument was, but it was on the side of the band, and all of them put on their horns, and they did an independent piece by themselves, a solo. And I was just so fascinated. And come to find out that was tuba. Since 8th grade, I had to switch from saxophone to tuba. I know my parents were upset, but I think ever since it's just something about it.
Okay, all right, and was it difficult learning to read music? I know I just remember the debate from the movie Drumline about some folks having a natural talent and some folks being trained to read music. We talk about the importance of being able to read music.
Yes, ma'am. Again, there's a division between the idea of playing by ear versus, I guess, school learning, being able to read music. And we, in the Black community, we want to idolize the church musician who play by ear, and anybody would pick up a set of sticks or pick up an instrument who would sing naturally. However, when we get to the college level, professional level, we need to be able to perform the cornerstone pieces of Western culture. You know, you need to know who Beethoven, Bach, Brahms. You need to be able to read, and from the notation, you need to be able to have different interpretations. So fitting into the culture that came before, so we can develop something new. So it's very important if you want to get outside your church. So if you could forever be a legend in the church, but if you decide to go somewhere else, you need to have the basic music theory skills. So just like reading a book, you know, there's a lot of people that can speak English, but they're being able to read proper English, be able to write proper English. It's the same thing for music. You should be able to read at a very proficient level.
All right, thank you. You made a compelling argument. And I'll just remind people that a couple months ago, on social media, there was a lot of hubbub about Beethoven being black.
Yes, ma'am.
Maybe folks will feel more of a connection with that little factor.
We talk about where music came from. It's everything is African one way or another.
Yes.
So one of the earliest instruments is the harp. The piano is just the extension of the harp turned to the side. So you actually look at a baby grand piano. It's in the shape of a harp. So this is all from Africa. The flute, the earliest flute was made found about the Nile, drums, the idea of the major minor scale, all of this on the continent of Africa. But, you know, when we traveled, and the people who wrote their name on things. And I feel like with Black culture, we are very happy just to have our piece out of music. And when people get an idea of copyright, see who this piece actually belongs to, we have to be more educated on.
Well, this is a fascinating discussion, so we're going to have to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk a little more with Mr. Chatman, our band director here. We'd like to hear all about the exciting plans for our Russ College band. Welcome back to the Bearcats Den with President Taylor. I'm Ivy Taylor, president of Russ College. Thanks for rejoining our program today. We have as our guest today, Mr. Mr Chatman, who is the music and band director here at Russ College. Mr. Chatman, I've been enjoying our conversation. I've learned a lot about music, but let's talk about the Russ College band. You're here in your second year as director of the band. Tell us about what the band was like when you got here and what direction you're moving in for the future.
All right. Russ College, from my understanding, since I've been here, had always had a jazz band, some type of stage band, but as the idea of a full-fledged marching band was not synonymous with the college. So looking back at the history books, there has been an attempt in the 1960s. I guess this is right before they ended the football program here. So I think with the football program on the way, the idea of actually being a full-fledged marching band kind of waned to the side. But historically, Black institutions, starting around the 1920s with Tuskegee, Alabama A&M, Florida A&M, these band programs started off just like we have with the stage band jazz program. And they just added numbers, added scholarships. But the key thing was they had a band director that stayed at the test of time, stayed 30, 40 years to actually see the program build. And looking at the history of wrestling, it's one of the things that's missing. And we had it with the choir, but I haven't came across a key band director that actually stayed a a long period of time to actually see it from the beginning to what we see like in Jackson State or Southern University. So I'm here. I made it my personal goal. It was my dream ever since I touched the instrument that I told myself I was going to be a college band director. I didn't know where. But I'm here, so I'm living my dream. So one of the goals, the aspirations is to, me being a music historian, is to emulate the other programs, to see what the key things that they did and see what we can incorporate. And also presently, there was other band programs like Talladega College. I think we just started their band program maybe 5-6 years ago, and they have almost 300 members in the band.
Wow.
So I would like to talk to that band director, Mr. Bonds. We have been communicating, trying to get an idea, and just bring those ideas here. So again, we do have a stage band program. We have singers, we have strings, we have any student on campus who's interested in performing with the group. But we're all making attempts, especially after COVID. I know right now it's kind of a strange situation, but we still have an active music program. And as soon as the COVID dies down, we'll be making another attempt to jumpstart the program to be a competitive.
So how many members do we currently have?
Right now it's 41 members. So again, that includes everybody from dancer, drumline, jazz combo, that's everybody that's included. So 41 for right now. So it is an increase from my 32 from last year. Again, COVID. So I was expecting more, but at the same time, we're trying to deal with the situation that we have at hand.
Yeah, COVID has posed a challenge
Yes.
on many fronts. But tell us about the students who are in the band.
All right. Well, the students who are in band, from last year, we have a lot of students who were participating in the band program for the very first time. So they had no high school experience. They might have played in the band 5th or 6th grade. So again, I have to take these students back to the beginning. There's this thing called the Red Book. I guess in Mississippi, it's a standard of excellence. It's kind of the book that we go-to book for K-12 music. So it's just the idea we're going back to the beginning, showing those how to hold the sticks, or how to hold the instrument, how to put the mouthpiece in, what's a quarter note, half note, what's a scale. I have to teach all that and get a performance ready for homecoming at the same time. So, it's been done before, but, we need to build on it and not have to go through the beginning stages every year. So that's the thing that I'm pushing for. Make sure that we can recruit students who have prior experience. So we just take off on day one instead of trying to figure it out.
So for those who may be listening that may know anybody, musician who's interested in band at Russ, what would you say? What's the selling point? Why should students be interested in coming to be part of the Russ College band?
All right, the selling point for me, I know I'm working with a team of faculty here, and we are pushing the idea of performance art study. So within the performance art study, the idea that we're taking anything that's a performing art like creative writing, dance, poetry, music, and we want to see what the students are interested in, and we want to build on their interests. So usually when you go to other college programs, they already have a set prototype that you have to go through. These are the courses, you must know this, and when you graduate, this is what you're expected to do. And with the performing arts study, we're trying to hone in on what the students are interested in. So if you're interested in becoming a singer, what connections do we have to make? What can you do here to build it? Like we have technology with the studio, we have mass communication, and we have students go ahead and start recording, or learning the ideas of becoming a published artist, ideas about copywriting. And the same thing with band program. If you have the idea of being a band director, we go through the route of music theory, how to write for small ensembles, how to play other instruments besides your main horn, how to do recitals. So when you leave here, you will be independent to start your own program, or if you want to go into grad school, you will be fully functional within today's society. So it's a little different route from other institutions, but we want to make it work for our students that we have here.
Okay, wonderful. Well, what are some of the other plans that are on the horizon for the Russ College band?
I know right now we are currently hiring a dance instructor of dance. And she has been volunteering. This is Jennifer Nichols from Jackson, Mississippi. So she's had been working on our dance line. We did a trial right before school started. The young ladies are very interested. And we're just trying to push them up to the quality of a collegiate dance team. I know that's our main goal for right now, for our short-term goal.
Okay.
Just to get that team, I think we get that competitive, I think that's will fall in line. So the key thing that I keep preaching to them is that, you know, at a college, at an HBCU dance team, this is the end. You know, it's nothing after this, you know, so we have to go ahead and raise our standards. It was kind of always done as a side job, not really taken serious, but just to add that idea of seriousness to it. So there's a lot of people getting pushed away because, you know, why are you so serious, or why we have to get practice every day, or you know, little things like that, but it's coming along.
Talk more about the importance of practice and what type of commitment is required from the students.
So again, traditions, culture. I attended my undergrad at Auburn State University. So on the first day of band camp, which was 2 weeks before school started, it was strictly band. You had your white shirt, your black shorts. You woke up 6 in the morning. You did your PT, then you went to breakfast with it. Band was all day for 2 weeks. And when we started school, even though band rehearsal was from 6 to 9, we still have sectionals with your section leader, and it was expected that you attend all performances, all rehearsals, all games, and major performances. It wasn't an issue. I never had the idea of missing anything. And I guess it's one of the things that's kind of new to me here at Russ, because we don't have an established marching band program. It's kind of lackadaisy. You try to be firm with students, but you know their heart is not in it. Then it's no reason you kind of pushing them away. And again, if you only have, let's say, 20 students participating, and you get rid of half, you know, you have to work with what you have.
I've been talking with the students, the faculty, and the staff about the fact that with my arrival, it's kind of a season of transition for us.
Yes.
So it sounds like you're in that season as well,
Yes.
as far as building the band, conveying the importance of practice and the discipline that is required in order for the students to develop a level of professional excellence, which is definitely what I believe we want for them to leave Russ College with and to gain from their interaction. And I'm sure also that the band forms a family. You know, all the research about persistence and success in college points to the fact that young people need to connect to an activity or group on campus where they feel integral. And it sounds like from what you're talking about that band certainly can provide that home for some of our young people.
Yes, fine. But the one thing I want to make clear, if you ever, or a parent that ever had a child in any type of sport, music program, especially in the very beginning, if you're expecting a 5th grade student to play as a professional, it's kind of your expectations are kind of out of sync. And it's the same thing with the band program here. Because it's a college band program, we're still dealing with first-year students.
Yes.
And that you only have the expectations for a first-year student, and not necessarily why we comparing ourselves to a band program that's been active since the 1920s. You know, so we have to make sure that we have realistic expectations. I believe that the students are doing great. We do have a lot of negative comments. Again, it's just the unrealistic expectations. So that's the key thing we need to keep in mind. So as we build, it's on my 2nd year. There's little things that we do take, that people do say, and we try to internalize it, and we make changes as we go. And again, just the idea of discipline, the idea of setting standards, it's a process. You know, I didn't want to come in here throwing rules and regulations all over the place, right. You know. But I also want students to understand, like you said, when they leave Russ, what are the things that I gave to them that they can use in the real world? Being on time, always having something ready to present, dressing the part, you know, some little things like that. You know, the things that you learn in band, and it's just been it's a journey. It has never it's never really done. And I'm very happy to be here, and I'm willing to work with anybody who's willing to be worked with. And I'm just so happy that you're here. So we can move on to the next part of the history of Rusk College.
Yes, yes. Well, I'm excited to be here as well. And when we first met, I was really impressed by your energy and vision and commitment regarding the place of band here at Rusk. So I think you are saying that even without us having a football team, there is space and place for a professional level band here at Rusk College should be part of our traditions.
Yes, ma'am. I know they kind of synonymous, football and band.
Yeah.
However, band did come before football. Just to make that clear. But with the HBCU experience, it's something about the energy, because the band is almost the spirit, the soul of campus. You get a different type of vibe when homecoming. You see the entire group wearing the same thing, all in motion, same step coming around the corner, and then they're playing songs that are synonymous with the college, and it just bring you home. It starts off that almost a family reunion feeling during homecoming, and we're gonna get it's here, but we just need to bring it to life.
Very well said. I have enjoyed this opportunity to chat with you, and thank you for being on our show today. I encourage everyone to continue watching out for the developing Rusk College Band. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Bearcats Den with President Taylor. Have a great day.
Claire, that was 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's right fast, doesn't it?
It was bad.
Good show. Good show.
It's all right. It's all right. It's all right.
Great.
Okay, we're good? All right, thank you so much. I was thinking of different ways we could use some of